right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's get this kind of squared away here. All right, so first I got to do this. This is my first one since coming back home. Ah, green tea. Wonderful. Okay. Whew. So, anyway, before we jump into anything, I want to remind everybody that this is a very family friendly oriented channel. I would ask you to please be decent in the chat. No racism, no nastiness. And as long as we can have a good conversation and be decent to each other, then you can stay. If you can't, then them awesome people lit up in blue with the blue wrenches will boot you out of here because we are not going to have it. So, uh, now JJ, before we get started, there was a certain name that was sent to me. I think they sent it to you as well for you to be on the lookout for tonight. So hopefully you know who that is, and they'll get blocked right away. Obviously, it's a fake account. Don't even know if it's really a female or not. I doubt it. So anyway, you guys are gonna love this. You guys are gonna love this. So my phone rings just before the stream, and like 10 minutes ago, and so it rings once and it gets hung up, and I look and a Tennessee number. I go, I wonder who that is. So I dial it back. It was East Tennessee Preparedness. He had butt dialed me. So he said he has a rare night off, so he is here in the chat, and so glad to have him here and had a good conversation with him. So that was funny, very very funny. So, but yeah, it happens, no big deal. I have done that many a times myself, but I've had it. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've had people call me, didn't know that they called me. Steve actually did that once. He was on his way to work, and I guess he must have like butt dialed me by mistake. And all I hear him, huffing and puffing on his way to work on his bike. You hear that, and I'm like, hello. So it was actually pretty funny. All right, so want to get into this topic, guys. I've talked about Fukushima many, many times before, and my butt loves that. There, well, that's okay. We'll take it any way we can get it. um, so I've talked about this topic before in talking about Fukushima and the disaster, and so now Fukushima has decided the people. I got my information written down here. So let me just. I even got it in my wonderful clean book that pages still work. So all right. TEPCO, TEPCO, is the company that is in charge of the cleanup of Fukushima. So it's been 12 years. If you guys remember that or not, it's something that I never forgot because it's a huge disaster. You had the meltdowns there after the earthquakes that happened over there, and the cleanup alone so far. Okay, yes, I have the list. I have the list. The cleanup alone so far for the Fukushima disaster is at $90 billion counting, and that was not a mistake. I didn't say 90 million, 90 billion. So think about that cost. How much that costs? That's one nuclear power plant. But don't worry, they're going to tell you they're perfectly safe. They're wonderful. Go ahead, get your nuclear power. You're going to be good to go. So nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. Go ahead and sign up for that power because it's awesome, right? But heaven forbid, yeah, out of whose pocket? That JJ, that's the $64 question right there. I don't know. So, but what do we have? 57 thumbs up. We're at 185 people in the chat. So if you have not shot a thumbs up yet, I'm going to ask you to do so really quickly to show support for the channel. And I thank you for that ahead of time. Also, I want to, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe as well. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well. And thank you for that. Okay, so a lot of different information with this. They're treating the water that they want to now. Okay, so let me go back here. Right now, they have on storage 1 million tons of radioactive water from the plant and radioactive rainwater. 1 million tons. I want you to think about that. That's an incredibly huge number. They have all kinds of storage tanks. Well, all those storage tanks are mostly full now. So now they have to get rid of that somehow. So what they've done is they've treated the water, and they're saying that the water is safe and they're putting it back into the Sea of Japan. All right. They can get rid of all the radiation except for tritium. It's tritium. It's the only one that they cannot get out of the water that they're going to put back in. They have diluted it, they said, enough that it's safe to go back into the water. All right. I'm sharing information that they're giving you. Now, do we have, should we take that at face value? Are they being honest? Are they being truthful? Who knows? I can't say that they are. I can't say that they're not. But not a good thing. Okay. So, but anyway, they want to start dumping this water. They've actually got flounder growing in the water inside the plant. But here's the thing that I find funny. Okay, so I watched this video. I got crap in the way here. Hold on. I watched this video, and the woman doing the video is all done up in the gear. Well, if things are so safe, why would she feel the need to why would she feel the need to have protective gear on? It's just, it amazes me. But anyway, the International Atomic Energy Agency backs the plan. They said, yep, it's safe, it's okay, no problems at all. Now, of course, why would they lie, right? I mean, why would they be dishonest about anything? It's, this whole thing is amazing to me with this plan. Now they want to dump it back into the ocean. And they're still, like I said, that tritium, that's a radiation they can't get rid of. They're not going to ever be able to get rid of it out of the water. So they're saying it's perfectly fine. They've diluted it enough to safe levels, right? To safe levels, so that that when they dump it back in, and and here's the other one. Now the fish will be perfectly safe to eat, so there's nothing to worry about there as well. Unbelievable, just absolutely unbelievable. It just safe for who exactly? That's and they were talking to a local farmer, and and he was saying, that they're saying that it's going to be safe and the fish will be safe to eat, and he's like, people aren't going to buy and eat those fish. They're not going to eat them. I mean, if you look back when that first happened, and before they basically contained as much as they could, how much of that radioactive water, with everything in it, went into the Sea of Japan? And I don't remember the exact numbers. Hey, Asif, you can eat your fish in the dark. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for the donation, and thank you for the statement. Yeah, well, they even said back then, I don't know if you guys remember or not, when they did that whole thing, tuna goes by that area. They're in that area, and then they're in their migration cycle. They end up going near the United States, and that's where we catch the tuna and turns it into tuna fish, right? So that's where that goes. And how much of that radioactive material is in those fish, tuna fish, or any of the other fish that are being caught? It's concerning. It should be concerning. People should be very concerned. So Hey, East Tennessee Preparedness became a beginning prepper. Thank you, man, for appreciate that. Appreciate that. So, it's just the situation is crazy to me. It's just absolutely crazy. Uh, uh, Red's Homestead, we can't fish in the Tennessee River either, thanks to 3M. Oh, you can't eat the fish in the Tennessee River thanks to 3M. All right, man. Thank you for that statement. Appreciate that information, and thank you very much for the donation. Uh, Up in Rochester, New York, Lake Ontario. I'll give you another good example there. The amount of crap that got dumped into the river by Kodak. Okay. Uh, okay, so I'm going to give you an example. My cousin. So let's talk about that, the chemicals and stuff, right? My cousin lived on Rand Street in Rochester. All right, I want you guys to go ahead and look that up, if so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. It's Rand, Rand Street. Right behind that, their street is Eastman Kodak, or was at the time. I think a lot of Eastman Kodak is now gone. But anyway, on that particular street, a lot of cancers, a lot of infertility with women, all kinds of issues that they had, and so a lot of those homes uh, got sold. And Kodak themselves, the company, bought a lot of those homes because did you want to live on a street where you might have infertility or you might end up having some kind of a cancer? And I know he was there for a while when he was younger, but they got out obviously at that same time when all that was happening as well. Look at what is the oh god, what was the name? Again, it's in New York. The canal, something canal. Oh god, somebody help me out here. It's the Love Canal. I think so. I think that might be it. No, 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 no. It's a Love Canal, which where they had the whole area was just hugely radioactive and all kinds of chemicals and yeah, it was Love Canal. Yep. Okay. Thank you. In that whole area, they ended up having to buy all those homes and stuff like that. Well, let's go back. All right, we can look in California with the situation that happened with the Aaron Brockovich movie, right? All the yeah, it was Love Canal. Okay, they closed that whole area down. That was gone. Nobody's living there anymore. Uh, you know, Nuclear disasters, guys. Um, Plum Island is straight up where evil came from. Yeah, well, and it was another big company. What's the big company out in California that got PG&E? Thank you very much, Vicky. Read my mind. Thank you very much, Vicky. The PG&E thing, where they were saying that the information wasn't there, and Aaron Brockovich went and got all the information from that was available publicly, and proved that they were the water was harmful, and that the people were being hurt by that. It's all proven. And so, and then these companies lie, and they're so big and they have so much money that they think that they can get away with anything, right? They think that they can get away with anything. So it's insanity. Yeah, chromium 6. Yep. Thank you, Prep Rebel. So that was a problem out there, that there was high levels of that and causing all kinds of issues and all kinds of cancers. In these companies, that it's all about money. Realistically, it's not about the people. They don't care about the people. It's about money and what they can get. You look even like down here in West Virginia. You look in some of the coal areas where with the way that they were collecting the coal, it was harmful, and a lot of the waters were contaminated, and people were having issues. I mean, this is a beautiful state, and I'm not in coal country, so but there is coal all over the place down here, and there was a lot of issues with that. So, but these big businesses, they're all about just making that almighty buck, and they'll worry about the consequences later. I mean, you look at the number. I'm sorry, I got an itch on my eye, so I have to scratch it. You look at the number of consequences. Pharmaceutical companies, great example, right? They put stuff out there, and they say, yep, oh, this is perfectly safe, this is wonderful, there's no problems. And then 5, 10 years down the line, the wire mesh stuff that they had done. It was just one example. You know, Oxy, another great example. You know, oh, perfectly fine, no problems, and you know, giving it out like candy, and look what happened as a result of that. You know, there's a lot of people that are dead, a lot of lives that are ruined, a lot of families that are ruined, children, husband, wives suffering because of the effects of what that does. Okay, uh, people, you know, there is no amount of money that's going to correct that. And you know, these different, like New York State settled for a certain amount of money. Yeah, baby powder, the issues with baby powder, Agent Orange as well, absolutely. Remember, we were told that was perfectly safe. They sprayed that crap all over down in Vietnam, right on top of our soldiers, and lo and behold, down the road, there was problems. You know, so when when a government agency, right, Roundup, exactly, Vicky. There's another one. When a government agency or people say that this is safe and this is okay, I don't necessarily believe them, you know, at face value. Because when you have a history of not being honest, and then it comes back and bites you in the behind, that is a problem. That's a problem. And so, you know, we have to question everything today because tomorrow the truth will come out. Exactly. Exactly. I've had a few friends pass as a result of Agent Orange. Yeah, and it's terrible. You know what I mean? It's a terrible, terrible thing. Yeah, fluoride in water. Yeah, don't even get me started on that one, Peter. We'll go on a whole different tangent of that. You know, Tony says once you're dead, you can't complain. That's pretty much it too. And then it's too late. And if you've been exposed, like with you know, with the Roundup, how many? Let's you know, kind of just do a little guess here. They said that I think one or three exposures to Roundup. I think it was three. Um, Three exposures to Roundup can cause damage. Now, here's a question that I would have: how many of these companies, and when I say companies, I'm talking about small businesses. True Lawn would be an example. You know, companies like that, you know, that do lawn care. You know, little small mom and pop businesses that employ 6, 7 people, and they go around and they're treating your yards. They come to your house and they say, "Hey, we'll treat your yard. We'll cut your grass. We'll do all this type of stuff, whatever the case may be." And they're using Roundup to get rid of, you know, the weeds. How many of those guys that used it day after day after day are having issues now? And I'm going to tell you what, I don't want to be when the people spraying it in your lawn are wearing hazmat suits. It can't be. Yeah, how can it be safe? Exactly, exactly. You know, and working with those type of chemicals, you know, not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. So, you know, I don't care what kind of money they were going to offer me to work with those type of things. I wouldn't take it because my health is way, way more important than any of that kind of crap. Any of that kind of crap. I'm going to give you an example of something else. As a nurse, right? Let's talk about this real quick. And I'm going to tell you what, I will be surprised. All my nurses that watch the channel. So here's the question. All my nurses that watch the channel, have you ever done an accidental stick? So what do I mean by that, right? As a nurse, we give a ton of shots. Ton of shots. Absolutely a huge amount of shots. All the time. It's an everyday type of thing. You're giving some kind of shots. How many nurses that watch the channel, LPNs, RNs, doesn't make a difference, accidentally stuck themselves with a needle that they had used on somebody else? How many people have done it? I have. Not going to lie, it happens. Absolutely, it happens. You're not trying to do it. I mean, and a lot of times now they have the caps now. They have the caps now that, like, when you give a shot and you pull it back, you can pull it back But um, back in the day, they didn't have that, so you would have to like manually recap your needle. Well, there's a really great opportunity for a needle stick right there. So those are things that happen. That's reality. So now, what are you looking at, right? As a nurse, what does the patient have? Rhonda Henry said at least 3 times over the years. I think I've done it twice. I think in my time, I've done it twice, and it sucks when you do it. You're like, oh my god. So then you're like, and here's what happens, folks. And I'll be honest with you. What you're doing, if you do an accidental needle stick, the first thing you're looking up is what do they got. You want to make sure they ain't got AIDS, right? That they don't have hepatitis or something like that. I mean, that's the reality. Yeah, people want to, you know, my mom was an LP and stuck herself, ended up with hepatitis. There you go, Donald. Exactly, exactly, and that happens. Thank you for sharing that information, and the other people on here that talked about that has happened to them too. Accidents are going to happen. It's plain and simple. Plain and simple. Yeah, but why do they use a sterilized needle for death by injection? That's a good question, JJ. I do not have the answer for that one. The judge mom, I think, got it the same way. Okay, yep. And those, like I said, those are hazards of the job, right? But with whatever you're doing in your life, whatever your job is, you know, there's risk. There's risk with that job. Uh, you know, things can happen. I got stuck by a nurse who had the flu. She gave me the flu. Oh wow, yeah, that happens. But guy says healthcare isn't healthy and it doesn't care. Big business doesn't care, guy. Nurses, I will tell you this right now. Nurses care. Nurses care. Oh, I saw the most ignoramus, I guess is the right word, comment that I ever saw, and I ignored it because it's like I'm not going to feed into stupidity. But the and I actually laughed because it's like it was just such an ignorant comment. The person said, "Hey, only women are nurses," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, all right." I mean, how ignorant really could one person be? How ignorant? I mean, that is just like beyond ignorant. So I thought that was very funny. So that person did give me a good laugh. So the best nurses that I've had are male. I'm going to tell you. So I'm going to give you guys an example of something. All right. I got into nursing because I truly love working with people. That's why I got into nursing. I love taking care of people. I like making people laugh, be comfortable. Not the bad thing that's going on in their life, but try to give them, a positive thing. So my training, one of the best ped nurses on the peds floor was a male nurse. Awesome. Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that. When I got into nursing, all right, when I got into nursing, there wasn't a lot of male nurses at that point. There's a lot more now, but at that point, yeah, right. I like that fortune cookie exactly. Um, when I got into nursing, not a lot of men were nurses. Well, let me rephrase that. Not a lot of straight men were in nursing. Okay, not a lot of straight men were in nursing. So when I was in nursing school, we graduated. We had 60 women, and we graduated 6 men. So yeah, the stigma of all male nurses are gay. Exactly. So, and I'm going to give you a scenario on that one that I've used on people, and I've used this on people all the time. And then what's the answer that they can come back with? Okay, but anyway, when men cross into a field that is traditionally a woman's field, all right, we do it because we absolutely love what we do. That's why men get into that field. A lot of women back then, I'm not saying that's the case now, but I'm saying back then, early 90s and beyond before then, women's options a lot of times were secretarial or nursing. A lot of that was okay. There wasn't the freedom, to have a lot of other choices. So I will tell you this right now, because I was a straight male in nursing, a lot of old school nurses, and I'm talking women when I got into nursing that were, late 50s, early 60s, they did not like a man in nursing at all. All right, they didn't like it. They just didn't. Which I could care less. You know what I mean? But so I will give you a scenario. I had a buddy of mine. Um, uh, it wasn't. No, I was having a conversation with a guy. This is how this came out. Having a conversation with a guy, and he goes, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" And I said, "Well, I'm a nurse." And he says, "Oh, so you're gay?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "Let me ask you a question." I said to him, "I go, what do you do for a living?" And he goes, "Well, I work construction." And I went, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Who do you work with?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "The people that you work with, who do you work with?" He goes, "Well, I work with all men." I go, "Yeah, and I work with all women." And I said, "So who's gay?" I said, "Because I'm going to tell you what, being a male in a predominant female field, the availability is there. Okay, I mean that's just the way it is. The availability is there. When you're working with all men, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So, but that's the mindset, though. You know what I mean? They think, well, because I'm a male, and I'm a macho man, and I work in this manly field. Well, you're around men all the time. I'm around women all the time. So I don't know. That's what I used to laugh at. I had one of the girls that I went to school with. We would get together and we would study. And I'll put it like this: she was interested. Okay, I was with somebody at the time. I was actually with my first wife, and so I wasn't messing around. But he didn't feel threatened because we would get together and study, because he just automatically assumed that I was gay because I was going into nursing, which like I said again, I thought that was funny. So, but nursing is a very bullying profession. Nurses eat their young. It can be like that, Lisa. You're right. It can be like that. Let's put it like this: you get about 10 women together working together, it gets very catty, very very catty. What nursing school did you go to? I went to Rochester School of Practical Nursing, which is not actually in existence anymore. They were uh, part of the city school district up in New York. So St. Paul Street in Rochester, the Family Learning Center was where we were located. So we had. So I'll tell you a quick story on this one. I hope you guys appreciate this. So we went to school in a building that was primarily, they had, it was in not the nicest section of Rochester. If you guys know St. Paul Street, if anybody knows Rochester, New York, and they know St. Paul Street, not a great area of the city. Okay, uh, Family Learning Center. It had, you had a lot of welfare people, single parent moms, all this type of stuff, and they were doing whatever they were doing. So we were like the only professionals in that building, the nursing students, and so we would go down into the cafeteria, and they had vending machines and all this type of stuff. And I'll tell you the story that happened this one day. Okay, so we're all in line, and hold on, dropping stuff here. So we're all in line, waiting for our turn on the vending machine, and this young lady cuts the line, right? And I go, you're not doing that. I mean, that's just a no go. It's not going to happen. So I go, excuse me. I go, the line's back there. And she copped a bunch of attitude. I said, I don't care if you cop all the attitude you want. You still need to take your butt, get back to the end of the line. So one of the girls that, there was like 4 or 5 women with me and myself, and they're like, oh my God, and you don't make any waves, you're going to get yourself killed, right? We were all white. They were not. And I'm like, no way. I'm not putting up with anybody's crap. I'm not going to have it. So I sit down and I'm eating. Next thing I know, I got 3 guys come walking up to me, right? Because heaven forbid you come one on one. We can't do that. Come up with 3 of them. yo, man, you know what, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, don't even start. I said, she was cutting in line. She was not cutting in line. I told her to get her ass. I'm sorry, said the naughty word. I said, get your butt to the back of the line. I said, and wait your turn like everybody else. I said, you got a problem with that? I go, then we can have a problem. And they were like, no, man, no, it's cool. You know why it was cool? Because it wasn't taking anybody's crap. And I'm not intimidated by anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are. I'm not afraid of you. You know, I've always told this to people. You can kill me one time, right? And all that means is this: I don't have to pay taxes anymore. That's it. Okay? That's it. Period. So, be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. And that's it. You don't intimidate me. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big you are. It doesn't make any difference. Now, I'm not looking at it to go out of my way to get in any trouble or fight nobody. It's not what I'm going to do. But I'm not backing down either. You know what I mean? So that was, but that's what they thought. You know what I mean? They thought that they could intimidate me. When they found out that they couldn't intimidate me, they went away and they left me alone. And I never had a problem again. Yeah, being scared of people is stupid. A lot of people walk through life very, very scared of everything. I've seen it. Yeah, right. Sorry, JJ. Yes, gluteus maximus. Uh, that slipped. So my apologies. I wasn't trying to. But I did use the more colorful language when I spoke with these gentlemen. So, but you have to stand up for yourself. If you let people intimidate you and bully you, that's going to happen your whole life. And I can remember, when I was small, I remember saying, when I get big enough, no one's ever putting their hands on me again without me doing something about it. And that's exactly how it went down. It's exactly how it went down. So, but anyway, there is getting completely off track here. You know what? I did not do. Hold on. Let me see if I have a text or not, because I did ask for the information. Uh-huh. All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to have to call or text Becky. So, anyway, got that information going. She should get back to me pretty quickly. Heather was supposed to get that information back to me. I talked to her earlier. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go see, Aunt Becky, and I'll get it for you. Yeah, okay. I guess not. Okay, cool. That was quick. So let me just tell her thank you. Okay. So now we're ready to go there. All right. Ed, my niece graduated at Baylor College. It's a medical college. Very cool. Very congratulations to her. Congratulations to her. So, but anyway, when big business or the government tells you that something is safe and there's nothing to worry about, I don't always feel that I'm going to take them at their word, because, when over and over and over again, uh, it proves that a lot of times in past history, that they have not been truthful, and what they have said was not honest, and it was not safe. Uh, you know, I'm gonna be on that path that says, I don't know, I think I'm gonna go the other way. So, but it's sad to think, and you think about how much food we really truly get from the oceans, and the amount of crap that is dumped into the oceans on a daily basis. Not just the United States, guys. Actually, we're probably one of the better ones because of regulations. That a lot of stuff has to be done a certain way now. Uh, it's like, okay, so the Genesee River in New York, right? Everybody knows about, like, well, not everybody knows, but there's a beer, Genesee beer. Personally, no, no, thank you. Anyway, a lot of people do drink that. The Genesee River, in my entire life, I have never seen the Genesee River be any other color but brown. Now, the last time I checked, water is not supposed to be brown unless there's like, a big storm and a lot of sediment has been built up and all that type of stuff. You know, uh, the water's not supposed to be brown. But when you have all kinds of things that are dumped into that water, that's why the water ends up being brown. What do we got? 375 in the chat. We're at 178 on the thumbs up. If you have not shot a thumbs up, uh, I would appreciate that. Show support for the channel, and thank you. Also, it does make a huge, huge difference with the algorithms, and I thank you for that reason as well. And again, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I would ask you to please subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon to get all notifications as well, and thank you very much for doing so. Ed, here in eastern Pennsylvania, we have not had rain in weeks with no rain in the forecast. Have you heard about droughts? I have not heard anything yet. You know, did nursing pay decent? Well, yes, of course it did. Nursing it's a great career. Not going to lie, it's a great career, and you can do very, very well in nursing. So, have you noticed that the Ohio train track wreck has disappeared? Well, it's amazing when they started shipping out a lot of that stuff to other states, and other states didn't even know it was coming. Or I should say, the higher ups knew it was coming, but a lot of people, didn't. So Dawn says, yes, nursing pays decent. Got to put up with a lot of BS, so they should pay decent. Yeah. Uh, you know, when you work for a facility, a nursing home, a hospital, any of those type of places, it is the amount of politics, number one, that has nothing to do with nursing. The politics alone um, is ridiculous. You are way overworked. You are always understaffed. So, hear what I'm saying again, folks. You are always understaffed. If you have a full staff, you're very, very lucky. Yeah, nurses get assaulted constantly. I have been kicked, punched, slapped, spit on, you name it, called every name in the book. Uh, Absolutely, yeah, yeah, physically and verbally, yeah, exactly. You know, uh, if you get, you know, I'm gonna tell you a story. All right. Now I work night shift most of my career because I didn't have to deal with management with working night shift. I'm my own boss on night shift. It's me and a couple CNAs, 48 bed unit. So, it's me taking care of, making sure that not everybody has meds, but if there's an issue, you're there. Okay. So you generally on a night shift, you might have three CNAs if you're lucky, for 48 patients. All right. And or usually it's two. Usually it's two. But, it depends on the facility. But if you get lucky, it might be three. They got to go around, do the rounds every couple of hours, checking the people that are incontinent and all that type of stuff. So we had a guy, and I call these people seekers. Okay, to me, what a seeker is they are people that are on a narcotic and they have a PRN. Okay, a PRN is as needed, right? So you have Joe Patient. We'll call him Joe Patient. Joe Patient, because I'm not going to obviously give you what this guy's real name was. Joe Patient had his normal narcotics that he got, and he also had a PRN, which was every 4 hours. Every 4 hours. Well, Joe Patient we would carry a phone on us. Okay, we always had a phone in one of our pockets in our scrubs, all the times in case anybody management wise or whoever needed to get a hold of you, or if there was something going on, they could get a hold of you. Well, this guy had that number, and he would call you directly, and he would say, Ed, listen, can I get my PRN? Now, if I'm not busy, right? Remember, I'm taking care of 48 patients. If I'm not busy, no problem. I'd get him his narcotic. I would take it down to him. I'd do my paperwork. He would get his narcotic, no problems. Well, if I'm busy, you're going to have to wait. I will get to you as soon as I can. So, uh, this one particular night, I was very, very busy when he called. And see, and this guy expected, I want you to realize this too, he expected that you dropped everything immediately and brought him his narcotic. Well, and some of the nurses catered to that, okay? And some did cater to that. I did not. I did not, okay? I will get to you as soon as I can. So when I got down there and I gave him his narcotic, he cursed me. He said, "You're effing with me. You're trying to screw with me. I'm calling the supervisor." Or I think he did call the supervisor because, of course, he had all their numbers too. And yeah, he wanted his fix. Exactly. He's a seeker, a drug seeker. And so he wasn't in legitimate pain. You don't automatically become in legitimate pain every 4 hours, folks, okay? It doesn't work like that. So before I had got his medication to him, actually, he had called the supervisor. She called me, and she's like, "Yeah, so and so, he's saying you're not bringing him down his narcotic." And I said, "Listen, I'm in the middle of something else right now. And as soon as I get free, I'll go give him his meds. But he can wait, period, end of story." And so, when he starts cursing me and telling that I'm screwing with him and blah, 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 you know, oh, yeah, we fired several nurses for stealing meds. I've seen plenty of that. I've seen plenty of that. That's an ongoing problem with a lot of nurses as well. Uh, so anyway, what happened was, he starts cursing me and stuff. And I looked at him and I said, "Dude," I go, "you are one of 48 people that I'm taking care of. You're not special. I'm not giving you preferential treatment. Just do, I said, if I'm busy, I come right down with your meds, don't I?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." I said, "But you're gonna have to wait. Period." "Well, I'm in pain." I said, "You know what? So you're special or better than everybody else on the unit." You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that you deal with. So you deal with a lot of crap. Ed, you see the nurse in Arizona convicted of poisoning his patients. I did not see that one, JJ. That happens, unfortunately, too. You know, when you work on a unit for long enough, you get to know the patterns of what your patients do and what they take. And I'll give you an example of something that I reported. All right. So this particular, I was off the weekend because you work every other weekend as a nurse. That's another beautiful thing about nursing. You have to work every other weekend. So it's not like you get normal days off every weekend. You work Monday through Friday. Don't work like that. Nursing is a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week type of job. Okay, so you work one weekend on, you have the next weekend off. So that particular weekend I had off. I came back on the Monday, and I'm going through the books. You have your narcotics books and everything else, and I'm looking, and I'm like, this nurse, had given like 5 PRNs to people that didn't normally, but they had a PRN order. They had a PRN order, but they never used them, right? And all of a sudden, on this particular guy's shift, all 5 of these people used the PRN both days. No, absolutely not. I knew that he was writing it up and taking the meds himself, either then or later. So, or her, whoever it was. I don't remember if it was a man or a woman, but I reported it. And I don't know what they did with it. I did my due diligence and I did my job. But yeah, there's a lot of that happens in nursing. There was a nurse that they caught stealing meds, and they went out to this nurse's car, and the amount of meds that this nurse had in their car, and it was a female, unbelievable, unbelievable. So again, highest percentage of alcoholics, guys, cops, highest percentage of alcoholics in that profession, in being a police officer. Biggest abuser of narcotics are nurses, and the reason is because we have access to everything. All right, and I said, "You're never going to see me take one thing because I worked way too hard to get my license to do that type of stuff." And I used to tell them all the time, You can drug test me anytime you want to because there's nothing in my system. So, yeah, did I ever wear a hairnet? I never had to wear a hairnet. No, never had to do that. So, but anyway, it just those are one of those things. You know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. It's a very very highly stressful job, and that's why the average nursing career. You wonder why? Why don't nurses? Why isn't there more nurses? You know, it's very lucrative, and it's you know uh, about 5 years. The average nurse lasts about 5 years, and then they're done. You know, then they're done. So because it's just it becomes it is such a thankless job. It really is. In the abuse that they get burned out. Yep, they get burned out. Uh, Overworked, understaffed, more and more demands put on them. Management that is crap, and dealing with that and the politics. You know, I had one place that I worked, guys. I'll give you an example. This place like loved write ups. They love writing people up all the time. Just for you, name up. And I don't play that game. If you're one of my and I'll give you an example of something that happened. Had a CNA that I walked into the bedroom, and a lot of times you would put the bed up so that you could change them, so you're not having to bend over. So they would bring the bed up. They would change the patient while they're in bed, and then you bring the bed back down, and then you go right. And I walked into the room, and the girl had the bed, and I mean crazy high up, where if that patient had fallen out of that bed, they would have been severely hurt. And she didn't put the bed down. So I took her aside, sat her down, talked to her, counsel basically, and said, listen, you got to pay more attention to that. You got to be on it, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Did it a second time, caught her the second time. Again, sat her down, talked to her. And the second time I said, if I catch you doing it a third time, I'm going to have to write you up. I don't want to write you up. I mean, it's a huge safety issue, a huge safety violation. We're going to get to it, JJ. I just want to finish the story. But, that's how I dealt with stuff. They like to write you up over ridiculous nonsense all the time. I just wouldn't play that game. So, and I wouldn't sign their write ups. Like they would write you up and you're supposed to sign it that you're accepting this write up. I wouldn't accept them. And they didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know what to do with me because I wouldn't play the game. I'm so scared. You're writing me up. Oh, please, please get out of here. If I do something wrong, tell me. I'll fix it. Period. End of story. Yeah, that intimidation, nonsensical crap. Never put up with. Anyway, I started in '86 and got out of it in '95. Yep, I don't blame you, Okie Forge. I really don't. Um, I will tell you this. I like home care. I enjoy home care because you can give the kind of people the care that they deserve, and that they need, and that they should have. When you're in a facility, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. So, all right, let's go ahead since we are behind now, of course. Imagine that. What a shock. Egg count. How many eggs today, and yes or no for Miss Thickneck? So we're even going to count Max, even though he sort of jumped the gun a little bit. So we'll give you guys a moment to get your guesses. I could do a stream, guys, and just do nursing stories that you would be like, no way. Just the stuff that I've seen, the stuff that's happened. Yeah, interesting stuff. All right. All right. If you had the exact same guess as Rhonda Henry, Rhonda Henry with 8 eggs today, and yes for Miss Thickneck, then you are 100% correct. So congratulations to Rhonda Henry. You've won absolutely nothing. So, so anyway, so she is the winner this evening. All right, but yeah, it's the stories that I could tell you about nursing. I back in the day, where what agency work, what you do, whatever nursing home needs somebody to come in, they're paying you. You work for the agency. The agency is charging buku bucks to that facility to have you come in and work that shift. And we got paid very well. Agency work was good, but you went in blind every night. And so, what do I mean by that? You didn't know the unit, you didn't know the patients. You know, you were filling basically. All right. And there was one place that I worked for. They had like 12 or 13 floors. I worked there a lot, so you kind of got to know, the different floors that you worked on and stuff like that. And that was pretty interesting. But I can remember there were certain places that I worked. I'm still a nurse, yes, Kathy. I'm still a nurse. Um, there was one place that I worked, or there was. It happened several times. I worked at a place, and I would just call the agency and say, "Don't ever send me back there again. I'm never working in that facility again." They were that bad, that bad. The one place I worked, I mean, again, I'm just a fill-in nurse, so the staff, they're in chairs, sound asleep. No air conditioning. It's like, you know, 80 degrees at 11 o'clock at night, and there's fans running in the hallways. Brutal. I mean, brutal. For them not to have air conditioning is horrible. And they're being paid, they're paying like buku bucks to be in these facilities. It's sad. Very, very sad. So, yep, I turned one in and it was shut down. It was that bad. Well, there was a couple that I worked in that eventually did get shut down just because it was just horrible. Or what they do, Dawn. So Dawn can attest to this because she knows exactly what I'm talking about. So you work at this place and it's a crap hole. So they called it Shore Winds, right? We're just making up that name. Shore Winds. Then 6 months down the road, now it is the nesting place. Because what do? They shut it down for all their violations under Shore Winds, and then they just reopen it under an original, a new name. Same people, same management, just a new name. It's just a game that's played constantly. And here's the other thing that always blew me away. And again, Dawn is, because I see her being very active and very active. Yeah, exactly what they do. She knows. I mean, so it's like you're in the business long enough to play the games. You know what's going on. So here's another thing that always kills me. It's always so the state, like I'm going to go with New York. Okay, I did most of my nursing in New York, so that's what I'm going to go with. So the state does inspections. They'll come into a facility and they'll check everything and blah blah blah. But what they do they do a surprise inspection? Do they come in on Wednesday and say, "Hey, we're here. We're doing inspections today," right? No, of course not. They don't do that. They don't do that. They'll give weeks notice ahead of time. Weeks. The state's coming in probably, they don't always give you the exact date that they're coming, but it's probably going to be in this week, right? Probably be in this week. So what does the facility do? What does the facility do? They make sure everything's squared away. They make sure there's more than enough staff ahead of time. You know what I mean? The Joint Commission does ours, and way ahead of time. Exactly, which is a joke. That's a joke. How's that making sure that they're doing what they do when they have time to fix everything that they're not doing right? And then they know that, okay, they're coming this particular week, so they make sure they have more than enough staffing. I'll tell you a funny story that happened. I think my daughter gets $22 an hour overtime, but it's hard even third shift because they wake up and there's dementia. Oh yeah, yeah, yep. There's a lot of that, a lot of that. So, what about the theft of personal patient items, rings, and jewelry? That happens too. That absolutely happens too. Yes, it does. Yep, sundowners. Oh my God, sundowners is the worst. And you may not think so, but if there's a full moon, I remember walking on units going, "Is it a full moon tonight?" And sure enough, it'll be a full moon because the crazies come out at night. They say. Uh, and plus, I've seen where people were stealing people's fentanyl patches. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know if you saw this. Okay, speaking of, let's talk fentanyl for a moment. Oh my God. Thank God for California. Oh, they're amazing. They've put new laws on the book. California has for more severe punishments for people that are selling and giving fentanyl. Well, that's going to stop them. Yep. Oh yeah, make laws that'll definitely stop them from. Oh, wait a minute. We better not sell fentanyl in California because they've enacted new laws. Really? Here's an idea. Here's an idea. You catch somebody with XYZ amount of fentanyl, how about you shoot them on the spot? How about you shoot them on the spot? That's what China does. China don't screw around, right? Why not that? That would stop. I guarantee you, that would make people think. That would make them say, "Well, maybe I won't do that." If the punishment is severe enough, you know, yeah, yeah. Criminals always follow the rules. Exactly, Angela. Exactly. Yeah, the full moon thing is real. Absolutely, it's real. Yeah, if you've ever worked, especially if you work psych or you worked an Alzheimer's unit, whoo, good times, good times. But yeah, interesting. I've seen, like I said, through the years, I have seen some very very interesting things. Yeah, I worked psych when I was a CNA down in North Carolina, and man, that was interesting. That was I the stories that I could tell you just from there. I could write a let's put it like this. I could write a book just from the stories that you know just from that one facility. One facility, John Umstead Psychiatric Facility in Butner, North Carolina. See, I can say, yeah, Butner. Yep, yep. Wendy knew exactly. Yep, Butner, North Carolina. Yep. The stories that I could tell you about that place just alone, you'd be like, no way. But oh yeah, yep. I'll give you one quick one. We had a guy that was in that facility that had the book title "Ed After Dark." Yeah, right. Um, Now I was working there in the '90s. Okay, and this guy had been institutionalized since 1927. I don't even remember how old he was. He was up there though. He was there in age. Crazier than a S house rat. Okay, completely out of it. But he looked great. I mean, he looked fantastic. And I had somebody that I worked with at the time said to me, "Look at how good he looks. How does he look so good? He's been locked up all these years. How does he look?" I said, "It's easy. He doesn't have any stress. He has no stress. He doesn't have to go to work. He doesn't have to worry about food, where he's going to sleep. It's all provided. He has no stress. I mean, come on. If you had no stress in your life and all you had to do was get up in the morning, wander around, do what you wanted to do. Your food was provided for you. When it was time to shower, somebody took you in and gave you a shower. They gave you your clothes. They helped you get dressed every day, right? If you urinated on yourself, they changed you. You have no responsibilities, none whatsoever. You got no nagging wife or nagging husband. You have no nagging kids. You now have to worry about providing for your family. None of that stuff. So, of course he looked great. you know, oh my God. It's just, and they were like, wow, that makes sense. Uh, but yeah, it is definitely interesting. It is definitely interesting. Yeah. So, but yeah, life is, I think back and all the different, people that I've worked with. And you guys, Richie was the last one that I lost. And I got to tell you, I loved Richie. Richie was such a good kid, just a sweet, sweet human being. And he got handed such a crappy deal. 5 years old, in an automobile accident, they got hit by a dump truck, paralyzed from the neck down, on a ventilator. The rest of his life, the rest of his life, and so he never had friends from when he was a child because he was 5 years old. I mean, how many of us remember anything realistically from that point? So, yeah, he just, that kid got my heart. He got my heart, and when he did pass, that one hurt. You know what I mean? I'll tell you. They tell you don't get close. Don't get close. Don't let them get close to you. Don't have feeling. You can't. If you're a human being, you have your favorites. Any nursing home that I've ever worked in, I've had my favorites because they're just sweet. They're nice people, and you want to give them that extra attention that you if you can and stuff like that. So, oh, I don't know what happened there, Don. She said, "I'm so sick of the race baiting. I swear." Yeah, that stuff is ridiculous too. That gets really really old. Oh, hospice. I've done hospice. Yep, yep, I sure have. All right, we are now, of course, past time for shout outs, and we have the list. It was funny because, like I said again, when I left, Steve had called me. Did you forget anything? Nope, nope. I got everything I need. I didn't. The list was sitting here. All right, back to the list. We'll start out with Icky Can up in Canada. Real good guy. I would ask you to please support him in his channel. There is Angry Prepper, and that's Jason down in New York City. You have Alaska Prepper, and that's Rudy. There's Alaska Granny. She's also obviously in Alaska. Imagine that. We have Sean James with the Sean James channel and myself for Lions. Two different channels. Same guy. Great information. Building up in Canada as well. Excuse me. Really good guy. Then there's Demcad. Like Demcad as well. You have Corporal's Corner. Bjorn Hansen. There's 80K Man up in the Adirondacks. You have Bizariza Jizza, who does the Carrington Chronicles. Really interesting story. Definitely interesting to listen to that. You have Marfugal News with Adam and Dax out on the West Coast in Seattle. There is Magic Prepper in North Dakota. You have Wrangle Star, that's Cody. Really good channel. A lot of good information with his channel as well. Red Poppy Ranch, and there is Survival Lily. You have Kyle's Cabin with Kyle and Sierra up in Minnesota doing their thing up there. There is Bush Radical and Girl in the Woods, husband-wife team, up between splitting their time between Michigan and Alaska. Really, really good people. There is Green Greg's. A lot of good gardening information with Green Greg, so definitely check him out. You have Southern Prepper One with his Boots on the Ground series. A lot of good information with him as well. There is Gray Man Prepping. You have St. Bernard Acres with Joe. There's Doug and Stacy, another fantastic channel. A lot of good information with their channel as well. You have the Nomadic Movement. They are down in Panama, living down there, doing their thing. Nice young couple down there. The Green Dream Project out in Arizona, showing you how to live in the desert, and nice couple there as well. There is Camping with Steve Wallace. Does stealth camping. There's Bush Doctor Survival. You have Monkey Works. There is the Needy Homesteader. You have Boss of the Swamp. He's been around for a long time. Another really good channel. A lot of good information with his channel as well. You have Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Again, another good channel, very smart man. Definitely pay attention to him. Any information you want on the Grand Solar Minimum, he's going to give you that information. You have Patera with the Appalachian Homestead. There is City Prepper. You have Luna Acres, Suspicious Observer. There is Bear Independent, The Uneducated Economist. There is Bushcraft Bear. He is in the Canary Islands of La Palma. Mary Greeley News, giving you all the latest updates on Yellowstone and all the earthquakes and stuff like that going on. There is Adapt 2030. You have Malachi's Corner. There is Ice Age Farmer. If you're going to get your weather, there's only one guy to get your weather from, and that is Ryan Hall Y'all. Ryan Hall's a great guy. Definitely go show him some support, and really good channel. And he gives back huge to the community. You have Russell Brand. Russell Brand gives you the information. I like him because he gives you it, and then he lets you decide. He doesn't tell you what to think, but he gives you the information. Deep South Homestead, another good channel. You have The Outsider. There is The Fit Farmer. You have Prep Rebel. There is Simple Life Reclaimed. There is Townsend's. You have The Prepared Mind, formerly of California. I don't know why he would ever want to leave there. Pinball Preparedness down in Tennessee. You have East Tennessee Preparedness. You have The Economic Ninja. And last but not least, Little House Off Gritty. They are also in Tennessee. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of good channels, and I'm sure a lot of you are putting other channels in the chat, which is fine. I think we should support each other. I think it's important that we do that. And, just look at different perspectives. Looking at different perspectives is a really good way of doing it. Not everybody thinks the same. I'm not going to think it's the same as somebody that lives in Colorado or California. I'm going to have a different perspective on things. And, what's affecting them in their life, depending on where they are, is going to be different. So, Prep Rebel Ed, thank you for the shout out. You're welcome, man. No worries. So, but yeah, like I said, a lot of good information, a lot of good channels out there, and I'd look up the Chick-fil-A CEO, and you will see what we were talking about. Oh, okay. Oh, with the race baiting stuff. Okay, that's so. It's so ridiculous. I've seen a lot of things again through my career of working, and I'm going to give you an example of something. I took care of a gentleman that he was the director of industrial relations for Kodak. Okay, and he worked at Kodak during Kodak's heyday. He retired from Kodak in 1967. So he retired when I was 2 years old. All right. I was doing private duty care for that family, and they were amazing. He was a brilliant man. And he had said to me, one of the reasons that he left Kodak, and I want you to listen to this, guys, because this type of stuff should not happen. Should not happen. Okay. So again, he retired in 1967. One of the main factors for him retiring, he said affirmative action happened. So we had to hire, a certain percentage of blacks. He said we would catch people sleeping on the job, and they couldn't fire them. Now listen, here's my thing. If I hire you to do a job, I don't care what color you are. Doesn't make any difference to me whatsoever. Okay. As long as you do your job, we're not going to have an issue, right? But they were catching people sleeping on the job and could not fire him. He was so disgusted because of that he retired. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Nobody should get preferential treatment on a job. You get hired, you do the job, and if you don't do the job, then you're gone. You don't get 8 million in 10 chances, or hey, I can do whatever I want and get away with it. I'll tell you a story how I lost a job. All right, you want to hear how I lost a job, and I'll even tell you where I was working. All right, I worked for Monroe Community Hospital in Rochester, New York, county job. Right, so I was a nurse. Yep, more stories. You got it. I was a nurse working night shift. I caught this young lady sleeping in a patient's room in a reclining chair. Caught her sleeping, out, knocked out. Right, I turned her in. Right. Now, my nurse manager was black. The person second in charge in the facility was black. And I'm white. So, guess who lost their job? You make waves, right? Oh, yeah, she cried racism, and all that type of stuff. They moved me off the unit and then they got rid of me. They got rid of me, and I did my job. Did you wake her up, or did you throw water on her to wake her up? No, I didn't. No, see, I was never. I woke her up. Oh, absolutely, I woke her up. We're working. Get out of get. It's not sleeping time. No, she was lazy. This girl was lazy, and I'm going to tell you what. And see, here's the difference. The other girl that worked night shifts with me was also black. She busted her hump. She worked very, very hard. I never had an issue with her ever. But you're not doing your job, and I catch you. But yeah, but that's what happened. I lost my job. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go ahead and sleep? No, because you know who that hurts, folks. That hurts. Um, I've worked with lazy white people. Oh, absolutely, Don. I'm not saying that there's not. I'm not saying that there's not. Okay, there's plenty of lazy white people. I work with plenty of them too. Trust me. Oh, absolutely, yes, I have. But I'm giving this example of how I lost my job because I turned this girl in. She's directly affecting the patients. That's the problem that I had. All right, that's the problem that I had. She was directly affecting the patients, and she didn't care. So, but no. I've worked with good people of color, bad people of color. I've worked with horrible white people, and I've worked with good white people. I've worked, whatever color in the rainbow that you want to put out there. There's good and bad people in every one of them. All right, so that's just. I'm just giving you that story, the way that happened, because I was white and she was black, and they backed her. They backed her. So, but purple people. I've worked with purple people. The purple people eaters. I've worked with them. Anyway, so that just goes to show you what happens. Real quick before we do move on, turned a guy in one time for doing drugs on a job. Doing drugs on the job. Guess who lost their job that time too? Yeah. Guess who kept their job? Wasn't me. Yep. So think about that. You tell the truth, you be honest, and you're the one they get rid of. So anyway, all right. We are legion because we are many. I got on my soapbox. I'm sorry. We are legion because, and that guy was white, by the way, that I turned in for using drugs on the job, just to put it out there. So I don't want people to say, oh, well, you're just picking on the black people. No, I was not. No, that guy was white. So, all right. Uh, where's everybody from? I know everybody's going to do it. Dayton, Ohio, Tucson, Arizona. We have Connecticut in the house. I did learn my lesson, Vicky. I shut up and didn't see nothing after that. Bay of Islands, Newfoundland, Inverness, Florida, with Clyde, Nowhere, Oklahoma, Franklin County, Ohio, Ontario, Canada, up the UP of Michigan with Dawn, BC, Canada with Janet, East Central Illinois, Leesburg, Florida, Western New York, Missouri and the Ozarks, Northwest Arkansas. We got Minnesota's in the house, Wisconsin, Charlotte County, Florida, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Waterloo, New York, West Virginia with Morning Light, Madison, Minnesota, Greenlee County, Arizona, Omaha, Nebraska with Larry. So, Fargo, North Dakota. Very nice. Dorian, nice to see you here. That's a first timer. I've seen that one. Never saw that one before. We have New Hampshire's in the house with Brenda. Michigan with Hope. But yeah, like I said, guys, we're all over the place, all over the country, all over the world. Huge network. We got Robert in Central Iowa. If we ever came together and worked together, there would be no stopping us. We got Antonio from Campbell, Missouri, West Central Ohio. So again, uh, Dina also from the UP of Michigan. Going back to what I was saying, all right, here's my thing. I don't care if you smoke pot. I don't care if you don't smoke pot. But for that 8 hours or 10 hours that you're working, don't do it. Don't do it. Do your job. You got hired to do a job. You didn't get hired to get stoned at work. Okay? So that's just my thing. And so again, just games. Just games. And that's why like I said, that's why I like private duty. You know why I like private duty? Because I can go to work. I take care of one person. I give them the kind of care that they deserve. Make sure that they're okay. And that's it. You know what I mean? And as long as they're happy, and as long as the family's happy with how I take care of them, we have no issues. And if they don't want me to be there anymore, then I go. And I move on to the next one. But yeah, it's much more rewarding, a lot less stressful. So yeah, and don't come to work high either. Yes, I agree, Don. Exactly. Do jobs ever drug test anymore? So okay, so I'm going to give you going back to that situation. I'll tell you this really quickly. So and that was a county job. That was a county job that you had to take civil service test for. Okay. They drug tested you when you got hired, and then they never drug tested you again, unless something happened. Then they did. But other than that, nope, they never did. And when I turned that guy in for doing drugs on the job, I had said to them, I said, listen, bring him in, bring me in, drug test both of us. I said, we'll see who passes and who don't. I said, I know who's going to pass and who's not going to. Simple as that. And that was long before I was a nurse. I was a CNA then. Or actually, what they called back then, it was called a MAHATA, a mental hygiene therapy aid. Mental hygiene therapy. So what they wanted me to do, reasonable suspicion. Well, here's the thing: is what they want. Well, we want you to set him up. We want you to set him up and buy drugs off of him. And I'm like, look I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I said, everybody in that house. I worked in a group home. Okay. I said, everybody in that house knows I don't do drugs. So now all of a sudden I'm going to buy drugs from somebody? No. So I will tell you what happened in that house as well. Myself and one other girl who worked in that house, predominantly white staff. Going to put it out there because people are going to be like, we were the only two that did not do drugs. Everybody else, management on down in that house, did drugs. So, and I heard later that the manager of that house ended up getting busted and was caught stealing furniture and all kinds of stuff. So, but there's your state jobs for your county jobs. Get the best kind of people. So anyway, all right. I want to thank my moderators. I'm on a roll tonight. I apologize. I just you get me going on nursing, guys, and I mean it's just the politics are ridiculous. Yeah, the person, she was stealing furniture. Yep. So yeah, well, she was a boss. She could do whatever she wanted. Apparently she couldn't. So I want to thank my moderators who do a great job. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the support. It really means a lot to me. Thank you guys for being here. Listen to me go on when I get off topic and get on a rant. I appreciate you hanging in there. So, appreciate that. Also, it's just, it's interesting. If you guys realistically, I know the nurses know exactly what I'm talking about. They do. Whenever I go on one, and the best part is whenever I go on one of my rants, especially with nursing, every nurse in the chat, every nurse that comments that watches the stream afterwards, like, "Yep, he's right. Yep, 100%." Because I'm telling you, from experience. I've seen it. I've lived it. I absolutely know what I'm talking about, and it's just it's messed up. It's messed up. It really is, and it's sad. And people's should it should be more about the people that you're taking care of, and it's not, and that's sad. And they're the ones that suffer at the end of the day. So, anyway, remember, guys, we are all in this together. Race called the human race. As soon as we could figure that one out, we truly will be in much, much better shape. Okay. Also, remember to hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life, so it's really important that we tell the people that we care about every day how we feel. Last but not least, STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that is going to stop you from achieving your goals is you. That's it, nobody else. Stay positive, stay away from the negativity, and you're going to be fine. You know, keep striving, keep working towards your goals, and they're going to happen. Realistic goals, all right? So, anyway, guys, have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.